To honor the moments that define us and witness the genesis of things never seen before. Ours is a fire that burns the world over. The Aegis awaits in the heart of Seattle, but the international spirit resides in us all. For the first time, the Aegis stands undefended. 16 teams compete for ultimate glory. Only one can forge a new legend. Who will emerge victorious? The battle begins.
Good morning and welcome back to beautiful Seattle, Washington, where 10 teams remain. After 2 days of incredible matches and shocking results, many crowd favorites have fallen, and many people are intrigued to see what's to come. 2 elimination matches are going to start the day as TNC faces OG, and LGD Gaming goes up to spar versus Digital Chaos. Up in the winner's bracket, 4 teams, all from the same group, remain, and we will get the chance to find out which teams will be advancing to the winner's semi this evening. So, I'm day 9. We got AK, we got Merlini, we got PPD. Days 1 and 2, huge results. What were the big shockers for you?
I think that Secret lost against Liquid. It's not a shocker in a way, but that Secret is like that they're gone now already after the second day is just I don't know.
Empire moving on past EG. I thought
2-0 resolution on a tear in the lower bracket. That's I don't know. Empire, I don't know. How do you feel about them, Ben?
Empire played way better. I'm still surprised at how they got their everything together so quickly. And of course, the EG falling was the big story yesterday.
Yeah, and I really like, AK, that you bring up the fact that Team Liquid defeated Secret, because so much of the focus of yesterday, right at the end, EG going out, that was the big story on a lot of the community sites. How was EG going to fare in the tournament? So many people thought they were going to get top 3 again, at least going 0-2 in winners and then 0-2 in lowers to get eliminated. But, I mean, Team Secret, again, one of those teams that you always expect to succeed every single year. And I think another huge shock is how well Invictus Gaming, Newbee, and LFY have looked. I mean, they have been a pleasure to watch. Especially since you said that all of the 4 teams in the upper bracket are from Group B. Yeah. And also, if OG and DC loses today, no, it's TNC and... yeah, LGD. Yeah, no, if OG and DC loses today, then all of the bottom 4 teams from Group B is eliminated in the second round, and all of the 4 upper is like still there. So it's a weird way, and I'm not quite sure how to like read into it. If like they're very strong, obviously they are because they are in the upper bracket, but it might be a bit of like tough luck for the teams that went into the lower bracket as well. Yeah, it's also significant to note that the top 4 teams that are currently in the winner's bracket were slots 1 to 4 in Group B, and who was slot 5? OG, that everyone expected to do so well, and now we're starting to get the chance to see why they are in lowers. I mean, these other 4 teams and winners are dominating. If you didn't get the chance to see what happened the last 2 days, let's take a look. Good morning, bright and early, all you beautiful people. It is day 2 of the main event of the International 7. 12 teams remain, and at this point, it's still anybody's game.
The first series of day 2, LFY versus TNC. The ice path won't connect, blinks out, but the route's through. TNC hold. No, it can't! That's tipped down 80 seconds, they've lost 40-37 as well. No way the TNC can slow this one down. LFY
what a game.
Game 1. They put the lasso onto the Kuka, but the damage is too much for Super. And it looks like LFY were only warming up in game 1.
Lumi, we've got LGD taking on VP. VP, the last Western hope remaining in the upper bracket. From the rear comes Solo with the zoning. Ultimate as he breaks down 3. One of the first times we've seen a team GG out on the main stage.
Oh, what a dodge!
Ramses pulling out the jukes. Why is maybe out so far? LGD are not playing as a team. It's what got them to this point. VP, they have slain LGD.
Team Secret versus Team Liquid. The captains used to be on the same team.
6-0. Puppey has been in every single kill. Liquid 1 racks away from being megaed at 27 minutes.
I mean, you got to take charge. You know, if you want something, you got to get out there and take it.
And with that, Liquid score another kill. They force mid one on his heels. Eyes on the prize. Secret cannot close them out. One of them is going home. Kuro versus Puppey. Game 3. Puppey charge. Go for the steal. Who's going to get the Aegis? The Roche, but Miracle snatches the Aegis away. Welcome to the meat grinder. Secret gets shredded. GG. Done it.
Elimination games.
for the second year in a row, but we've seen some crazy things at this TI.
You know, I'm glad you brought up the Broodmother game, because I feel like that was a game where it went so poorly at the start. Broodmother bouncing back and forth between two lanes. It was almost as though you didn't get to see TNC get off the ground. And of course, there's some compositions where if your start goes poorly, you don't even know what the game plan was supposed to look like. Playing Broodmother when you are way behind does not feel like you are playing Dota at all. It feels like a 4v5.
When you're drafting and as a captain and as the drafter, it's like your job to give your team an opportunity to win. And I don't know if TNC had that opportunity in game 2 by the way the draft was set up and by the way they set up their lanes. So they were, kind of fighting just to stay in it. I just don't think they had a chance anywhere in that game.
And we did see Team Liquid have a couple of drafts where, to echo what you were saying, PPD, it was almost as though they weren't set up for success after the draft was done. And they really pulled back hard. TNC looking forward for them to possibly pull that together in lowers. Now, before we wind up getting straight into the first game, our players are getting set up in the booths right now. And as is custom, let's go say hi to Casey and Slacks to start the day off on just the right tone.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah.
I like how that sounds. Slacks and I are really.
Oh,
Slacks
what?
and I are waving it.
Blue shirt guy! Woo!
Yeah, that's you, dude.
Yeah, he's the best. Anyway,
Good.
Casey, I'm always giving you stuff about not knowing Dota, not playing Dota. It's kind of my thing. But I thought this year, we might as well change it. You might as well learn how to play some Dotes, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes,
man.
sir.
All
Yes,
right.
sir.
Why don't we take a look at when me and Casey learned things together?
So I was practicing yesterday, and I have a hard time memorizing all the hotkeys. So I wrote down what I thought were the.
Can I say this?
Yeah.
Abilities. Q, W, E. Oh, no.
Yeah, because that's where you get the.
Oh, girl.
When you buy the things, and then you have to use them to kill.
Forget everything you know.
Okay, I'm ready.
Play some Dotes.
I'm ready.
You ready?
Play some Dotes.
All right. Now, before we start, we're going to put you on a hero that I think speaks a lot about who you are. And we're going to put you on that guy right there.
Viper?
Viper. Oh, they picked Viper. They stole Viper from us.
Why would they do that?
People are cruel. We're replaying, all right?
I thought this was a bot.
It is a bot. Well,
The bots were cruel?
The bots have already ganked us, Casey. All right, you're in
All right.
Viper. All right, now this is a typical...
The creeps haven't spawned yet, though.
That's perfect.
So you got to go behind the creeps, right?
You want last hits.
Yeah, yeah.
No, you don't want last hits. You want kills. You farm by enemy heroes, all right?
Okay.
Those suckers are about to learn what happens.
So don't kill the creeps?
I want you to go up here. We're going to perform a gank. All right?
Gang.
Go up.
Isn't that when we gang up on someone?
That's right. There we go.
Where is he?
Press
Where
the
is
R
he?
button on that
Right
one.
now?
Yes.
Right
get
now?
R button and then click. Kill him! Boom! Keep hitting him. Casey, we've got this.
Do I keep hitting R? Wait, why is he going away?
He's running for his life. One more click.
Shit!
One more.
I got you!
You gotta click him.
I'm clicking!
One more.
I'm clicking!
Get out of there!
I'm clicking! Why did I die?
You did great! Boom!
Ganked.
Suck it! That's the Viper.
Suck it!
Two guys.
Oh, that
coming.
guy?
Right.
Oh, Dragon Knight!
R button.
I hate
R
Dragon.
button.
Right now?
Yep.
Come on! Do I keep hitting the R button or
Yes!
just...
Yeah, Casey, get him! Get Wraith King. They're all out of position. Hey, Casey, don't look away! Wraith King's coming right back. Get him right there. Click him. Yes, Casey. Yes, Casey.
Yes!
Yes!
Get out! Where did I go? Where am I in this map?
You're killing everybody. You're fine.
I don't know where
You're
I
killing
am.
everybody.
I'm killing
strategy.
Love it.
We see very team-specific bans coming out, especially the later we get into this tournament. Teams start realizing what other teams are good at, and they start realizing what they're actually not so good against.
I loved when you pointed that out with Team Secret just going as anti-GH as possible, banning Wisp.
It almost worked.
Selecting Coddle first.
I think that they were in a great position to win that series yesterday. I think a couple key mistakes in that game 3, and we could have seen Team Liquid eliminated very, very easily.
Lich.
He's back.
First pick Lich.
Okay, you love Lich.
I love him.
Let's see what got overlooked.
You want to marry him.
Wisp and Earthshaker, both overlooked. A lot of teams up against the Lich will go towards heavy summon lineups, which can be directly countered by a second pick Earthshaker. So I'd be quite surprised to see TNC either to let Earthshaker go back to OG. I imagine they'll probably pick it for themselves with one of their 2 picks here, and then maybe look for a Furion or some sort of hero that has summons or can play really fast in between lanes.
I think that Lich is a good hero, but I think first picking him is quite scary as well, because as we said, he's not a good hero to deal with summons, and Ench and those heroes are very good against him as well. So it really gives the opportunity to the enemy team to. And here we see the CM as well. It's like that hero that the VP picks, right? You see the Lich, who can't really move around a lot, and then you get the Maiden to be a little bit greedy.
Yeah, we saw VP pick that Maiden yesterday. I was not a huge fan of it, but it worked out really, really well. What we did see, they did do Crystal Maiden actually against the Lich, right? It was exactly supports, and CM was able to start in the jungle a little bit, but he was also able to move in between the mid and the safe lane and grab a couple kills. That game was a little weird for me just because I think the Beastmaster was feeding a lot, or he could have played better, and the Crystal Maiden and Nightstalker wouldn't have gotten all those kills.
And at least now here for OG, they're getting the Earth Spirit, who's actually a hero that can kill Maiden in the jungle if you can find her. So it's not the Kanka and Lich opening that BP was up against, but...
And if you're playing Crystal Maiden and Earth Spirit rolls on you with an Orb of Venom,
you're dead.
Yeah, most times Crystal Maiden has a Clarity going, so first off, that's canceled. And you 140 mana for your freeze, and maybe you have 1, you definitely don't have 2.
I mean, I'm nearly certain Crystal Maiden is the slowest hero in the game, but also by a significant margin, right?
Treant Protector's pretty slow too. My 2 favorite heroes. Ice Frog, please.
One time.
I think Sand King got picked over Shaker because it's more flexible. I think they want to put Tims on a more aggressive hero a lot of times. Although we did see them pick Naga a lot, I still think they do better when he's on the Slardar ES Sand King, or Slardar Earth Spirit and Sand King rather. The Brew ban. Do you think they're going to pick a core that gets countered by Brew?
I think it's more about S4 that he's one of the best Brew players.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. I think OG enabling S4 is a really good strategy for them. We saw the game where he's playing Panda. He got the 11-minute Blink Dagger or something.
Oh, he dominated start to finish in that game.
S4 is the kind of player who he knows how to cause initiations and he knows how to take smart fights. So having him kind of lead the direction of your team once he has that Blink Dagger is a really good spot to be in.
And that is also why it's quite hard to play against OG, because we have S4 and Ana, who you don't really want to give a good game in the beginning of the game. But then you also have No-Tail, who's very active, so it's very hard to shut all of them down.
Morphling ban.
Yeah, I mean, Ake, you mentioned earlier, Lich plus Morphling in the mid lane is an excellent way to circumvent the weaknesses of Morphling in the early game.
And it's also a way then for Ana to play a position 1 hero in the mid lane, and for them to make sure that he has a good game. So it's a very good ban from TNC.
Ben, you play a lot of carry, right?
Mm-hmm.
When somebody bans Morphling, what is something that you would want to play without a Morphling in the game? They just banned out the Naga. And Morphling's often great against heroes that build Radiance because you can replicate them and then have a Radiance on your side.
I think it's more so for the mid lane matchup. They know they can't shut down the mid lane because it's a Lich.
Oh, okay.
So
they're eliminating one of the hard carries that could present them problems.
Right. That could pretty much has a very easy early game because of the Lich.
Morphling's really good versus CM and Sand King. Any stuns are just no problem at all from Morphling because he can just morph strength and survive. Also, he built Lincoln Sphere, which is great versus Sand King.
So there's still a ton of good heroes out there that we haven't seen banned at all. I think Puck is still in the pool. Could be really good for S4 here. Hasn't been addressed because we see a lot of unusual bans here. Could be Chaos Knight, which OG has been going for a lot with like no Shaker in the pool. Shaker still hasn't been picked or banned.
Yeah, that's surprising to me.
I'm not the biggest fan of CK because they have the Sanking Stun and Crystal Maiden AoE if he can get the ultimate off to kill off the CK illusions. So
it's tough versus CK, but certainly CM is not the tankiest hero.
Yeah.
Well, also, I mean, we've seen several Chaos Knight games on the main stage, and if he gets kills and gets farmed, feels unstoppable. And if he doesn't even feel like he's in the game.
Notel's got one of the better senses for playing that hero, I think. We saw the CK yesterday really just roam around early and not get a lot done, but I think Notel's got a nice balance of being ready to fight, also moving to create fights.
There's also the Void DP combo, too, that's still open up for OG. There's
10 seconds.
Do they play Void on the safe lane then, or?
Yeah.
I think maybe Darkseer is a way for them to make sure that OG needs to help Notail as well. Because if they leave Notail against the Darkseer, then usually Darkseer farms a lot, and it's very hard to take the mid game when he gets his mech on Darkseer. But now they probably want to get a support there to help him out, and the Earth Spirit, he doesn't really want to be there.
He definitely doesn't want to be there. They probably want to pick somebody that can solo up against this Darkseer in lane. First thoughts, I think possibly Anti-Mage for OG could be an option.
Looking at the TNC lineup, what do you feel like of their current strengths?
Team fights.
Lots and lots of team fight. Good disables. Darkseer, no disables, but massive amount of team fight.
Set him up for the Sanking Stun, the vacuum to Sanking Stun, and Darkseer, he usually builds mech, and he can go pipe as well. So that really gives him a lot of magic resistance and health from the mechanism. So
Darkseer does a great job of enabling melee cores to be more effective in the early game with Ion Shell and Surge. So in these next two picks from TNC, we'll most likely see either one or two melee heroes to, bolster his strengths, which melee heroes don't actually match up that well versus Lich and Earth Spirit because of the proximity of how their spells work. And lots of AoE, and the closer people are together, the more damage they're capable of doing. Necrophos as well, with his aura especially, constantly on melee heroes throughout team fights.
And like there we have the hero that we were talking about, that they can put on Notail that actually can solo against Darkseer. He does quite well.
It can solo versus Darkseer?
Yeah, I think so.
I think so.
He can sustain, and
I haven't played a lot of the new Necrophos, so that's interesting.
The only problem is if Sanking drives by and gets an Ion Shell, but they're probably going to be ready with TP on Earth Spirit to be able to help him.
Ooh, Luna. Second appearance here on the main stage.
Look at the melee core I predicted, just popping right up right away. I'm on top of it, huh?
In your defense, Luna is the meleeest ranged hero in the game.
Yeah, people like to go melee range on Luna, right? So ideally, the Ion Shell should just work for itself.
Either way, when you're right, Peter.
So
yeah.
I think there's two ways to deal with the Necrophos.
I'm right.
As a carry. You can either pick a Diffusal hero, or you can pick a carry that does a ton of magic damage, and Luna fits in the latter position. I think we saw it picked versus Liquid, I think, was it?
Yeah, Team Secret snatched up Luna in that final game.
And it destroyed the Necrophos. They, as soon as he pops Ghost, just bomb him with Eclipse.
I'd love to see OG head towards some Black King Bar heroes that built that item pretty naturally here. All four of these heroes definitely struggle against that item. Luna, a very magic-based damage carry for the early game until she gets a Manta and a Butterfly.
TNC is also getting a lot of more team fight here with the Luna, of course, with her ultimate, but also the aura, the lunar blessing that makes them being able to take down towers faster.
Yeah, Luna can be that frontliner for the team and go hit the tower. What they don't have is any kind of save to back her up.
So Centaur Warrunner for OG.
Alternatively to BKB heroes, they can build pipe wielders. Centaur, I think, he builds hood / pipe every single game. Very, very good versus their lineup. And also, we saw it paired up a lot, Centaur Warrunner versus the Luna matchup. And it's actually very problematic for the Luna. You just spam double edge on her. CM maybe not going to be in lane that much. And you're not really in danger of dying Eclipse because of the hood.
I want to ask the same question that I asked earlier, but for OG. How would you describe this lineup, its strengths right now?
Team fight and laning prowess. I think that they're set up to have a better early game with the Lich, and they'll probably take a decent early game advantage. I imagine Centaur will probably go hood first, or maybe even rush a blink, and he'll start looking for activity on the map. Darkseer, being the 3 position, is most likely going to be farming quite a bit more than the Sand King, who is most likely slotted as the 4. So we can expect an earlier blink dagger from OG and have them begin initiating fights and TNC might be on the back foot until the 4 position SandKing catches up.
I mean, especially with the Earth Spirit, that wherever there's any weakness, he can bomb in so easily, transitioning into Centaur on a Blink Dagger.
It feels like the OG wants to kind of take the fight a bit back and forth. Like they have the Centaur to be able to run out when Luna is coming in with her ultimate, and maybe they use the vacuum and wall on Darkseer.
Do you think we can expect a aggro tri-lane from TNC?
Could be. How is Darkseer against Centaur? It's quite even.
It's fine. It seems fine.
If they, better for Darkseer.
Yeah, I think a wash.
Yeah, they should just block the hard camp.
Oh, I see.
Otherwise, the Darkseer is just going to push out the wave and pull the hard camp and
talk about that. Can you explain that? Can you explain that for everyone who doesn't know what you're talking about?
That the Darkseer puts Iron Shells on the wave and he pushes it out. So
I was talking about the ward.
Oh, the ward. He puts the the Centaur is going to bring a ward down to